40 for Rateable Crest Titans.
Welcome to a very rainy Wigan to the Three Sisters circuit for the Questmead Stages Rally. Now forget all notions of the fact that this is a kart track. The competition out on this rally has been fierce over the years, and with many crews using it as a test for the Northwest Stages, you've got some big names coming out to play today, as well as coverage from the Junior Championship as well. Let's get onto the stages. Let's see just how slippery that kart circuit really is. Onto these quick-fire and water-soaked stages then, and it would be Peter Jackson and Andy Baker leading the way, the escort pair making a great start to the rally to lead by the midpoint in the day. For Eric Roberts and Mervyn Williams, it would be second, the pair just 6 seconds back from the lead and taking the top spot in Class D with that position on the leaderboard as well. Things were going well, meanwhile, for Lee Edwards and Mike Roberts. While others were sliding around on the wet stages, they seemed to be holding things well. Third place for the escort pair at this stage. Speaking of sliding around, Simon Bowen and Richard Robinson would have a bit of a spin, shall we say, on the second stage of the day, losing a few seconds. Thankfully, no real damage to the car. Just to their leaderboard position, they end the morning with 4th. For John Richardson and Eric Wilcoxon, it would be 5th. The pair taking 3rd in Class D at this stage as well in that Myers Co College run escort. Things going well though for this pair, Wes Simpson and Joe Ford. 6th place after the morning stages, 3rd in Class E. Frustratingly though, it would all come to an end soon afterwards, meaning the leaderboard was due a bit of a shake-up after service. Former British Rally Championship and indeed World Rally Championship contender Neil Weirden was out this weekend with Callum Cross alongside. Out in a newly acquired Hyundai i20. You may remember this car from Ollie Marriage running it in Top Gear magazine colours a few years ago in the forests. Things have changed a bit on the car since then though. Things were going well as well here at Three Sisters. The pair take the Class C lead as well as 7th overall. This would be the first time out in 2 years for Dan Woods and Tony Garrett. Another comeback this rally in 2017 being the last outing for the pair. Not quite the WRC then for Woods, but they settled in fast to lie in 8th place at this stage on the leaderboard, just behind Weirden in the class. James and Victoria Swallow, meanwhile, would be lucky to even be in the competition, almost pulling the entry due to a cooling issue the day before the event on the car. Thankfully, a bit of DIY mechanics. They do manage to start and put in some good times as well. The pair out on a budget though and having to cope with intermediate tyres instead of wets. And let's face it, it is fully wet out there. Rounding out the top 10, meanwhile, at this stage were Richie Hughes and Martin Quant. The Mark III Escort adding some variety to the results, but running a much more modern Focus ST170 2-litre engine. 3rd in Class C for the pair at this stage. Frustratingly, the top 10 fight would lose Lyndon Barton and Simon Hunter early into the rally. Problems with the BMW forcing them to retire, but not after some fun sliding around the wet track here at Three Sisters first, entertaining the spectators. 16 months out of the car would mean Lee Griffiths and Chris Whittle would have some catching up to do. Sadly, they pull a tyre off the rim in the second stage of the day, giving themselves an even bigger setback to overcome. 15th overall for the pair, 4th in Class C at this stage, and it all to do. Richard Bromley and Terry Martin would lead a popular Class B assault this weekend. Plenty of entries in the class and some close competition expected here at the Questmead stages as well. And for Darren Roberts and Paul Redford, it will be second in that class. Just over a minute back from the lead, but with plenty more stages to go here in Wigan. And third in that class would be Andy Rose and Stephen Brown. A couple of places back from Roberts on the overall leaderboard too at this stage. Class A sadly wouldn't have as much competition, and it would be Richard Haig and Robert Bryn Jones who lead the way there in the micro. Second in that class, belonging to this man Stephen Kenyon, Craig Jonathan alongside in the Fiesta. And would you believe it, in these conditions we wouldn't yet have finished with the retirements list. We lose Sam and Kerrill Steele when the diff fails in the third stage of the day. On to the junior rally then, and it would be the lead for Rob Wilson and Martin Haggett, the pair having led for all but one of the stages so far, opening up as a result a good advantage by this stage. For Lewis Hooper and Sam Billam, it will be second place. The pair switching positions almost every stage, but remaining within the podium positions. A close fight this in the juniors, a favoured event for them as well. Tom Naylor and Ian Lawrence start the day cautiously, seeing others spin all around them, not wanting to do the same themselves. They take an approach which is fitting of a good result. They reach the midpoint in the rally with third placed, in a last-minute step up from fourth position as a result of that approach. A lot of people talking about this man, Billy Grew, Emma Morrison alongside. It will be a step down to fourth on the leaderboard. They'd been up in the podium positions and even leading at one point so far today, but they lose that position going into service. For Max Hughes and Chris Evans, it would be fifth place. A constant pace from the pair would see them holding position for the entire morning in that Citroën C1. Do not underestimate the difficulty that these youngsters would have getting onto these wet stages with little experience of these conditions. For Ian Lloyd and Jonathan Jackson, it would be sixth. It wasn't the start that they wanted, but at least they were still going. Sixth place to their name for now was a good start to the event. And seventh overall at this stage would be the Skoda of Archie Swinsko and Jane Nicol. You see some names in this championship you'll recognise, don't you? The pair 49 seconds back from Lloyd at this stage in the rally. And the times will be even closer for Sian Hughes and Sean Jones, just 6 seconds back from Swinsko at the midpoint of the rally. For Benjamin Jewell and Vince Mosley, it will be ninth, just inside our top 10 leaderboard in the junior rally for the micro pair. And rounding out that top 10 were Dylan Roberts and Dylan Thomas in that Peugeot 107. On to the second half of the Quest Meet stages then, and a look first at our junior rally results. And rounding out the top 10 at the end of the rally were Benjamin Jewell and Vince Mosley, stepping down from 9th position that they'd held before lunch. A similar story as well for Sian Hughes and Sean Jones. They stepped down a position in the afternoon, taking 9th place on the leaderboard. Meanwhile, things had gone the other way. For Dylan Roberts and Dylan Thomas, they end the rally with 8th, a good 2 positions higher than their morning placing, seeing them take a strong result at the first round of the championship. No change though for Archie Swinsko and Jane Nicol in the afternoon, holding firm, an impressive performance. Of course, not a bad thing at all, keeping your position on the leaderboard in conditions like these and with competition that they have around them as well. The pair ending the rally with 7th place. And it would be a similar story as well for Ian Lloyd and Jonathan Jackson. They end the morning with 6th place on our overall results. Frustratingly, Lewis Hooper and Sam Billam would be unable to hold on to their podium position, slipping down the order to take 5th place. The times in this top 10 still so close. Tom Naylor and Ian Lawrence a case in point, managing to keep things mostly in shape. One little spin in the afternoon, but nothing too serious, ending the rally with 4th place overall. They take victory in the pre-03 category this weekend. So onto our podium finishes then, and it would be a fantastic 3rd place for Billy Grew and Emma Morrison His uncle, of course, Mark Jasper, winning the event overall last year, and on hand for a few tips as well, stepping up to bag that podium billy in the last stage of the day. It would be a great weekend too for Max Hughes and Chris Evans. They step up a few positions through the afternoon to take that second place overall. A good close fight. But of course, that means there'd be no change at the top. Rob Wilson and Martin Haggett convincing and taking victory this weekend after leading for all but one of the stages. So confirmation then of the results at the end of the Questmead Junior stages for 2019. An impressive display. Well, Rob, I think you'd agree that was a hard day's work for us and for you. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels brilliant, especially after the conditions this morning. You know, it feels good to even get to the finish, let alone in first place. We came into the last stage with a bit of an advantage, so we just let all the cars that were in a battle go in front of us, you know, just get through. We came to the end, and I think, you know, we're happy with the result, and it sets us well for the championship, really.
Bit of a game plan in mind already, and you're at round one, so obviously points on the board. And actually, you say it was difficult at the start of the event. It's often more difficult as it starts to dry up and you've got bits of track that are wet and bits that aren't. It's easier sometimes when it's actually wringing wet through.
Yeah, so we actually quite enjoyed the wet weather because, you know what to expect. But coming into this stage, we didn't know whether it was greasy, dry, wet, you know, we didn't really know. So we just took it easy and it paid off, really. We're happy with the result, and I think, you know, I can thank everyone for that.
Max, well, that was an explosive start to the Junior Rally Championship. You were right in the mix all day, and you were really looking like you were finding the limits of this car.
Yeah, we took a steady pace in the morning to get into it. You didn't want to spin because everyone knows here at Roskirk, if you spin, you're done for the day. So took a steady approach in the morning, then climbed from 7th to 2nd when we pushed on in the afternoon. So we were very happy with that.
Yep. So the conditions were drying, you were picking up speed.
Yeah.
At that point, you had to manage the rally a little bit, given that you had a bit of a buffer. Were you still trying to chase him down?
Yeah, definitely. We were all the way since stage 4. We were pushing for the result from stage 4.
Fantastic. Well, that's a well-earned second place and a good start to your championship. Well done.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Well, Billy, points on the board and a good start to the championship in less than ideal conditions.
Yeah, good start to the championship. It's been a challenge all day. We had a spin on stage 3, I think, but we've managed to pull back time throughout the day.
You must feel after that you've really grown as a driver, because not many drivers get to experience those conditions in a lifetime of rallying, but you were out there today having to really feel your way around and also fight for a podium.
Yeah, it's been hard. We've had a great challenge from Max and Rob all day, and Tom Naylor, hoping for a good result, and we've managed to do it.
Well, Tom, you were certainly throwing it around out there. You know, this isn't your dad's Evo, but what a day for you.
It was great fun. First stages were a bit slow, but when it started chucking it down, I was keeping up with nearly everyone. So it's a great day. It was great fun.
Back to our overall rally results then in the main Questmead Stages rally, and it would be a second place in Class A finish for Stephen Kenyon and Craig Jonathan, 31st overall. Taking victory in that class were Richard Haig and Robert Bryn Jones. They held on to that class position from the morning to take victory by the end of the event. And for Joe and Stephen Ode, it would be third in Class B, the pair ending the rally with 24th overall in the micro. Just ahead of them in the class were Andy Rose and Stephen Brown, the similar car, finishing a few positions up on the overall results in 21st. But taking the Class B victory this weekend would be Richard Bromley and Terry Martin, continuing to hold on to that position throughout the day despite the conditions. This weekend, it's fair to say, hadn't quite been the result that Brandon and Sean Smith would have wanted in that Darien. They certainly weren't suited to these wet stages. They do manage to get themselves second place in Class D for the weekend, though not a bad show for their efforts. Frustratingly for Peter Jackson and Andy Baker, there were big changes. They no longer keep hold of the lead, dropping down the results as far as 25th after lunch. They climb their way back up to 13th to end the rally, though. Not exactly what they had in mind, but a good fight back and a lot of fun. Lots of sideways as well, as we love to see from Jacko on these wet Three Sisters stages. On to our top 10 then, and it would be Richie Hughes and Martin Quant who round out that top 10, taking 4th in Class C with that result. It could have been 9th, but the pair get held up in stage traffic on the final stage, an occupational hazard of small sprint-like stages on single venues like this. Taking that 9th position then were Adam Williams and Rachel Atherton, the Subaru pair taking 2nd in Class E with that result as well. Lee Griffiths and Chris Whittle claw back some time after earlier issues in the rally. They managed to get to the end of the event with 3rd in Class C as well as 8th place overall. For James and Victoria Swallow, it will be 7th, the pair also taking the Class E victory. True clubman rallying from this pair who drive the car to events and service out of the back of Dad's VW Golf, proving that you don't need a big budget to get a good result in club rallying. A good weekend with close competition, exactly what Dan Woods and Tony Garrett came here for. It would eventually see them come out with 2nd place in Class C as well. The front-wheel drive car showing its worth in tricky, wet conditions. They take 6th place on the overall leaderboard. But just beating them to that class position were Neil Weirden and Callum Cross. I think you could call that a successful test. They take Class C this weekend as well as 5th overall in that Hyundai i20 kit car. Myers Coat College's John Richardson and Eric Wilcoxon get themselves a great result this weekend as well. They take the Class D victory, finishing just outside our podium places in 4th in that Escort. On to the podium positions then, and it would be the final step for Lee Edwards and Mike Roberts. Lee's future mother-in-law keeping a close eye on our live stream throughout the day as well, just to make sure that she knew exactly what Lee was spending his money on. A good weekend without any incidents. Mother-in-law would be proud. The car coping well in the conditions and the pair doing it justice as well. 3rd place overall. For Eric Roberts and Mervyn Williams, it would be 2nd, missing out on that lead vacated by Peter Jackson earlier in the day, but happy with how things had gone. The times had been good, the pair ended the day just 14 seconds off the lead, and safe in the knowledge that sometimes it's all about being there in the fight, ready to pick up the pieces. But after a somewhat heroic comeback and a bit of a sideways one as well from that earlier mishap, it would be victory here this weekend for Simon Bowen and Richard Robinson. A lack of time in that Subaru WRC prior to this event wasn't an issue at the end of the day. They get the time back and move up to take the lead and the victory here at the Questmead stages. So at the end of a tricky, slippery and dramatic rally, the results at the top look like this.
Well, Simon, you did overhaul that 1st place.
Yeah.
You made it hard for yourself, and but a good fight during the day and a bit of fun climbing back up the leaderboard.
Well, one likes a challenge.
Yeah.
One does like a challenge.
Probably want less of a challenge in a few weeks' time.
I do overdo it a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's all right, yeah. It's tricky on here, though, it is. As greasy. It's so variable.
What a fantastic test, though.
Yeah, good. Got me back into it. Yeah, bring it on, man. Yeah, we're ready for back into it again now, properly.
Word for the marshals out today because there were 40 of them out here. It was stinking out there for them.
Oh, it just absolutely hats off to them.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Without them, there would be nothing. So, yeah, thank you very, very much for the organisers. It was against them, you know. They've had a few challenges today, to say the least, and they pulled it together. We've only lost one stage, which is a lot better than I thought we'd get a couple of hours ago. So, and the weather's been atrocious. So, yeah, well done to everybody. It's a good event.
Well done. Cheers, Simon.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, Chubbs, what a day for you. You spent most of the day in the lead, and you got some fans there on the live social media stream on Special Stage. Yeah, watching you, keeping that Subaru WRC at bay, but we knew it would take a bit more than heroics to do that through as the conditions were drying up.
Yeah. It was a good battle, but he was only here playing, though, to be fair to him.
Yeah, he was playing in a World Rally car, and he'd be the first to congratulate you, though, because, you know, you hustled him.
Oh, yeah, we had a good battle, but fair play to him. He's got a World Rally car in the end day. We got a 2-litre 2V Vauxhall engine in ours, so that's all we've got,
But you keeping your eye on your mirrors for Lee, it was a good day, a good battle out there, and the conditions made it a bit interesting.
Yeah, Lee, I've never raced against Lee before, all my friends know Lee, Phil and them, they've all, I've been watching him, good pilot, like, but to beat him today, that's an achievement, like, to be fair, like, and there's some other good lads here, like, so no, really enjoyed it.
Well, you can hold your head up high tonight. You put a good display on with that car today. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Enjoyed it. Thank you, mate.
Lee, what a day for you. We've even had your mother-in-law to be on the live stream talking about what her future son-in-law's been spending his money on. I bet she'll be impressed with that.
Oh, well, she'll have to be, won't she, you know? What can I say?
But what a day.
Yeah, no, really happy with it. Good crack, mate. Nice and simple. We just stayed where we were. We had a few issues on number 6 and 7. But yeah, we weren't catching Chubb, so leave him to it and just play our own game. But yeah, happy with third overall. So yeah.
The car just seems to stick. Is that something that you planned? Did you know it went well in the wet? You seem to be able to get the power down a lot better than the Mark IIs.
Yeah, it's always been good in the wet, to be fair. I've got 3-ways on the back, so there's been plenty of tweaking over the times. But yeah, it's good in the wet, not quick enough in the dry. So.
Okay. Karen, 3-way means very expensive suspension.
Cheers, pal.
So that's it for the Quest Mead Stages 2019. If you missed our live coverage on the day, you can catch up with the action as it unfolded on our Facebook page and watch it back any time. In the meanwhile, we will leave you with a few highlights from a slippery Three Sisters in Wigan. Thank you for watching Special Stage.
Oh, playing sideways there, but just again. Display of really got to bring the power out of this car wound up, and that's how many feet. As you can see there, some lovely sideways that hasn't quite gone to plan. The Rob coming first in the juniors, and lots of sideways there as well as that glass. Whoa, and we lose. I was talking, wasn't I, about that K being driven on. It's going well this morning. Ready to give a few more tips. Rob Wilson again. Sideways. Oh, and we've got a big sideways moment right across the grass. A nice, I'm not sure of the 360. Of course, mentioned earlier his BRC CV, doing some WRC Aussies as well. And 40. Oh, crap, we nearly had it. Almost done.
Care 40 for rateable Crest Titans.